Mountbatten-Windsor, 8th in line to the throne. Do you think that Parliament should look at removing him from the line of succession?
Mountbatten-Windsor looks to have done some terrible things, but they have not yet been proven. And I don't think we should allow trial by media. I don't think we should convict anybody or pass parliamentary legislation until the police have finished their jobs and possibly the courts too.
And would you support an inquiry led by MPs, peers and retired judges into Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and Peter Mandelson's connections to Epstein, as something that Tom Tugendhat suggested today?
Well, one of the odd things here, of course, is that it was Peter Mandelson that appointed Prince Andrew as he was as the UK trade envoy. One of them's been arrested, one of them hasn't. I think, frankly, before Parliament gets involved, starts forming committees, I think we ought to let the police and the courts do their job. And what I sense here is a big pile-on. It's a big pile-on against Andrew. Yes, what evidence we've been presented with does look dreadful, but I do believe in due process, and I do believe that people are innocent until they're found guilty.
Other big news this weekend, Donald Trump and the tariffs now going to 15%, particularly bad for Britain given the deal that we previously had. What would you be saying to Donald Trump if you were Prime Minister at the moment about this?
Well, the Trump tariffs, as announced a couple of days ago, will hurt us. Of that there is no doubt, which just goes to show that the relationship between us and Trump really matters. He's going to be there for several more years to come. And I'm not sure this Prime Minister now is in a very strong position with Donald Trump. I think telling the Americans that they can't use bases on UK soil to attack the appalling Iranian regime now puts us in a very, very bad place. And I would suggest on tariffs right now, we don't have a negotiating position.
Do you think that decision is linked to Trump's about turn on the Chagos Islands again? And also, what do you make of these suggestions that if we pull out of this deal now, we would be sued by Mauritius?
The Chagos deal is the worst deal in history. It is bad for the British. It is bad for the Americans because the terms may not be upheld for the next nearly 100 years. It is appalling for the Chagosians, who we swept off those islands with frankly no good reason, given that Ile-de-Quoi is 120 miles away from Diego Garcia. And it's also bad for regional stability. If you look at this vast area of the Indian Ocean, it's been pretty stable for decade after decade. With this deal, if it goes through, already you can see there's going to be a turf war that goes on between India and China for control and dominance of the area. We do not owe Mauritius any compensation whatsoever. They have never had claim to the Chagos Islands, and frankly, if anybody did have a claim historically, it would be the Maldives and not Mauritius.
And just finally, on the speech and the measures outlined here this morning in Dover, the Conservatives have said that Zia Yusuf has got nothing new to offer beyond copying and pasting Conservative plans. Reform is a one-man band, etc., etc. What's your response to that?
The Conservatives broke trust with the British public in 4 general election manifestos. The boats started to flow across the Channel whilst they were in power. Nothing they did changed any of that. And from promising us net migration of tens of thousands a year, they gave us nearly 1 million a year. And that is why, as a result of that, as a result of the Boris wave, public trust of the Conservatives is finished.
Nigel Farage, thank you.